And I think part of the issue is people, or maybe therapists, certainly this is true, they get fixated on conflict and how conflict is aversive. And distance slips by them.
Yeah.
And they start to normalize it. And actually, from an attachment point of view, it's distance that's the virus. It's disconnection that's the virus. But we all get caught in conflict. People say, well, do you have a happy relationship? Well, we don't fight.
Oh, I hear that all the time.
Yeah, we don't fight. Yeah, I know, but do you have a happy relationship? It's not the same. Well, it's like, well, we can peacefully live. And the tricky part is that for some of us, depending on how we've grown up, my parents fought to the death constantly.
Yeah, mine did too.
And all I knew was I remember saying to my granny, whatever that is, I'm not doing it. Right? I'm not doing that. Right? And so, I saw the conflict, right? And we focus on conflict, and therapists focus on conflict, teach you how to fight fair, and fighting fair is rubbish. Okay. It's like, it's irrelevant. And we don't look at what's going on underneath, which is lack of emotional connection. There's incredible distance in a relationship that's designed for closeness and connection and sharing. Yeah. And we're not very good at it. And we don't know what to do with that. We don't know what to do with... Some of us don't even know how to begin an accessible, open, responsive conversation. We don't know how to begin it, so we don't.
If you're
Relationships are live things. They're live, moving organisms, and they're like every other live thing. If you starve them of attention and ignore them and leave them on a shelf for years, then you turn around and try to pick them off the shelf. Well, I'm sorry, but they've shriveled and died.
Yeah, and so my uncle, here's an interesting story. When my ex and I got divorced, and we told people, most people were really surprised. And because from the outside looking in, we had this great sort of relationship, but the inside out, we had been couples therapy for a while, and things weren't great. And then I told everybody, and my uncle, out of the 100 people I told, he was the only person who said, "Oh, I saw that coming." And I said, "Really, that's fascinating to me." Because everybody else I've told is
and
this
what
is
did
a big
he
threat.
see?
And he said, "I have this theory about relationships that I can predict a couple's happiness together and their bond." He didn't use the word bond, but I'm going to use it in the context of this conversation. And he said, "Well, here's what happened." He's like, "You come over to my house." We used to go over to my uncle's house quite often. He's like, "The first time, you don't talk together. You don't ask each other any opinions. You're talking, but it's all transactional. It's all like, who's going to change the diaper?
Yeah.
Who's going to take the kid here? Yeah. Who's going to do that? Who's going to pick up the groceries?"
It's all business and content.
Yeah. And he's like, "The first time that happens, I kind of think nothing of it." But he's like, the second, third, fourth, fifth time, you come to my house 4 or 5 times and you've done nothing but that. He's like, "I think that there's no connection there. There's nothing left between you." It's sort of...
That's right.
And he was like, "That's why it didn't surprise me." And ever since then, it's really interesting because I've used this heuristic with my friends. And so I will approach my friends and I'll be like, "What's going on in your relationship?" And some of my guy friends are like, "Oh, nothing." And I'll be like, "No, what's going on in your relationship?" And then they'll be like, "What do you know?" And I'll be like, "I don't know anything, but I know something's up." And they'll be like, "How do you know something's up?" And I'll be like, "Well, I've seen you guys together a few times, and it's this sort of thing that leads me to believe that everything's not okay. Am I right?" And then they'll often open up about some of the struggles in their relationship.
And I think part of... Sometimes, well, do you fight with your husband? Of course I do. Do you think I'm an EFT therapist every minute, right? And do you use all your skills? Of course I don't. Which is why teaching people skills doesn't work. You can only use them when you don't need them, right? When you're in a fight with your husband, I don't want to use my EFT skills. I want to prove him wrong. I want to show him he can't talk to me like that. I want to be right. I want to be in control. And the EFT therapist in my head says, don't say that. And I say it. Of course I do, because I'm a human being with my toes over a 1,000-foot drop. The difference is that then we can come back. And this is what securely attached folks can do. They can come back and heal the fight. People say, research says that recovering well from rifts makes all the difference in love. Here's what it sounds like when it works. Abe says, you never listen to me when I get upset about something important. You just go quiet and you shut down on me. Sam says, I don't think that now is the time to talk about this. Abe says, right. No time to listen to what matters to Abe. And Sam turns to walk out of the room. This is their usual pattern. One complains, the other distances. But then Sam turns back. He says, hold on. This is the place we always get stuck. You don't feel like I'm listening to you, taking your needs seriously. And I just end up feeling overwhelmed. So I shut down and run. And then this thing just spins. You get more upset, I run away faster, and we're both as miserable as hell. We get caught here. It's the spin dance. It kind of takes us over. Abe says, yeah, you're right. This is where we get caught. We are caught. But I didn't know that you feel overwhelmed. Let's have tea. Let's try this conversation a different way. Maybe we don't have to get so stuck. Recent research says that nearly all of us get caught in this kind of dance at times. And just changing focus to the dance itself, the way we interact, really helps calm everyone down. It gives us a sense of control. This kind of dance, this spin dance, erodes safety and predicts escalating relationship distress. The research on EFT, the couple intervention created in our lab, shows that when distressed couples can slow the conflict down like this and just describe their dance, they create a safe platform. They can then move on into the hold me tight conversations that shape positive patterns of bonding. A study by Salvatore found that recovering well from an argument was key in the stability of a relationship. And John Gottman's research concludes that the repair of conflict is a key factor that can make or break relationships. Changing channel and naming how both of you get caught in sidesteps that only lead to painful solitude is a key relationship move. This makes sense. Flight or flee responses take over when the one we count on suddenly seems rejecting or able to shut us out. Standing back and taking control of the way we dance together calms us and reminds us that our lover is not the enemy. Then we can reconnect.